What's going on, guys? Welcome back to WWE Network and Chill, where I, Graham G. Matthews, break down all the original content I watch on the WWE Network. And today we're talking the December 21st, 2020 edition of Raw Talk. So after last week when MVP hosted in place of R-Truth, we got R-Truth back on the show. So the show is back to being, I don't want to say abysmal, but it's so mundane. It's a mundane show more often than not. And I did think this week was slightly better than usual. Largely due to the guests, nothing because of what, not because of what R-Truth or Charlie Caruso said, but it was fine for what it was, but I think it was made better by the guests and what they had to say as opposed to Charlie and Truth hosting. But they were back to hosting as a unit this week, and I'm not going to say their tag team name or whatever the fuck they perceive to be their tag team name because it's terrible. But they do recap the ending to Raw that saw, what was it? Was it AJ? Oh no, it was Drew McIntyre, Keith Lee, and Sheamus beating AJ Styles, The Miz, and John Morrison in six-man tag team action, and then Sheamus Bro kicking Keith Lee. And they kind of talk about the Keith Lee-Sheamus tension. They also recall The Fiend getting lit on fire at TLC, and the fallout from Raw that saw Alexa Bliss return and confront Randy Orton, which was, in my opinion, one of the better parts of the show. And then Charlie says, this might be a bold prediction, but I think Bray Wyatt will return in a very strange way. And I'm like, that's not all that much of a bold prediction, but if you think it is, then more power to you. So the first guest they have on is Ricochet, who's obviously very upset about Retribution losing yet another match on Raw this week, after already having lost to Mustafa Ali, T-Bar, Mace. Or he didn't lose to T-Bar until last night. Previously, he had lost to Mustafa Ali, Slapjack, and Mace. Last night, he lost to T-Bar, the former Dominik Dijakovic. In a week or two ago, if you asked him, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, whatever, if you asked him about joining Retribution, which they've been asking him for a while now, he would have said no wholeheartedly. He would have not even have hesitated to say no. Now, after having lost so many matches to this group in the last number of weeks, now he has to think about it. And he realizes that something has to change. And this is where he kind of gets emotional. Starts shedding some tears. And obviously what he said here was completely in storyline. But I wouldn't be surprised if what he said here, or at least part of what he said here, was how he actually feels. Because he even said that when he came to WWE, he came to the main roster, he could barely hold on to the United States Championship. He had the belt for all of, 3 weeks? He got beat by Brock Lesnar in record time at the Super Showdown show back in February. And, now he hasn't been able to beat the Hurt Business in the past. He can't beat the Retribution group right now. So he's kind of in a rough spot, and he doesn't want to contemplate joining them or be involved with them at all, but he's realizing that it's something that might have to happen, because either way, something has to change, and I completely agree. I don't know if he was going to go on air and say, it's going to take me leaving WWE and going to All Elite Wrestling, or back to New Japan, or something like that to get that change. Probably not going to say that on Raw Talk, but that's what I'm thinking in my head. So they had the Hurt Business on, specifically Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. And they talk about how R-Truth crashed their party. R-Truth denies being there. Not really their party, but like their photo shoot. And Truth was in the background with the 24/7 championship. I was hoping that was going to lead to MVP beating Truth for the 24/7 title, but alas, that did not happen. So Cedric Alexander talks about how he's living great right now. He is prime Cedric Alexander. He is living great. And they even mentioned, hey, Ricochet could have been with us. That guy that just got all upset about losing to Retribution, he could have been in the Hurt Business had he taken us up on our offer, but he turned us down. Rather, the age of Alexander is over, but it's all about prime Alexander. It's all about prime Cedric Alexander. And Shelton Benjamin, he's asked about how he feels about Cedric's progress, because they were teasing tension at TLC, and it's a very weird thing, because they'll tease tension some weeks, and then, last night on Raw, no signs of tension whatsoever. So very weird. But Benjamin does praise his progress, and he says, hey, as far as he's come in the last 6 months from when he was against us and now with us and now one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, it's very impressive to say the least. So the last person they have on the show this week is Charlotte Flair, who returned obviously at TLC the night prior to become one half of the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions with Asuka, the Raw Women's Champion. So Charlotte jokes about coming to Raw just become a champion, just to win a title. And granted, she already was on Raw. She wasn't drafted to one brand or the other during the draft, but actually, no, I think she was selected by Raw. So everyone already knew that she was going to be on Raw, which I completely forgot about. That feels like it was ages ago. But she said that in her absence that she realized that Raw needed the Queen. And she used Asuka as her motivation to come back because she wasn't really sure where she would fit into the mix. But she saw Asuka out there doing her thing, killing it as Raw Women's Champion, and saw that and was like, you know what, I could probably be back there doing my thing as well. And she actually went on the subject of Asuka. She said that she feels that Asuka cemented her own legacy when she ended her undefeated streak at WrestleMania 34. And she respects her for consistently being on top the last couple of years. And typically she doesn't play well with others, she says. But all the women are working hard. Asuka specifically, but all the women. Lacey Evans, Peyton Royce, they're all killing it right now. And she herself, she said, had doubts before TLC, whether she still had it, whether this was the right time to come back, that sort of thing. But at the same time, she puts over all of her accomplishments as a former multi-time SmackDown Women's Champion, Raw Women's Champion, NXT Women's Champion, Divas Champion. How many people can say that? Former, or now rather current, WWE Women's Tag Team Champion, Royal Rumble winner, which makes her an all-time Grand Slam champion, WrestleMania headliner, you know? But at the end of the day, TLC felt like her first day on the job. And that being back out there on Sunday, she had to remind everyone who Charlotte Flair was all about. And she was able to do just that when she beat Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler to win the gold. So, a good interview here with Charlotte. I thought the Cedric and Shelton stuff was also solid. And the Ricochet thing was very interesting. I don't think Ricochet is going to join Retribution. And if he did, his name would probably be like Rebound instead of Ricochet would be Rebound. Although, you know, Ricochet is a better name. Rebound is just dumb, which is why he would fit right in with Retribution if that was indeed his name. But yeah, so a pretty good Raw talk. Again, in no due part due to the Charlie Caruso and R-Truth stuff as them as hosts. But the guest I thought brought it. Ricochet, very interesting segment there. The Hurt Business stuff was good. In the Charlotte Flair interview, her first time, they said her first time ever being back on, her first time being on Raw Talk, which isn't true. She was on Raw Talk, maybe not the night that she left, but I remember reviewing a promo that she cut on this show like a week before she left, where she went off on the women's division. Like, it was right after I think she lost the NXT women's title. So, yeah, I just think, it's obviously that was inaccurate. But overall, it was a pretty good show. So check it out right now on the WWE Network, Raw Talk, for December 21st, 2020. And thank you guys, as always, for checking out the videos. I appreciate it. Be sure to like the video, drop a comment, share the video, and subscribe to the channel for more daily content. Check out all my other Raw Talk reviews right here on the channel. And, have a great rest of your week, guys. I'm Graham G.S. Matthews, and I'll catch your ass down the road.